All right, continuing on, talking about Doctor Who Inferno with John Pertwee. Okay, so there are these stairs that lead up to a fuel storage tank area with walkways. Uh, so the Brigadier and the Doctor go up these stairs. And the Brigadier asks the Doctor what happened to the maintenance man, Slocum. The Doctor tells him some sort of retrogression of the body cells, I think. The Brigadier says it was as if he was turning into some sort of animal. Sergeant Benton arrives, and he tells the Brigadier that Wyatt, that was the soldier that was struggling with Slocum, and he was the one that was not responding when the Brigadier was trying to talk to him. Benton says Wyatt and the technician, that was the one that Slocum had attacked. Benton said that Wyatt and the technician, that they have both disappeared mysteriously. All right, and then the Doctor discovers and follows Wyatt. Now Wyatt is all green with hairy hands. He uses his rifle like a club and swings it at the Doctor. So it's like he's devolved. He doesn't realize he's a soldier, and he doesn't know how to use a rifle properly. He's not using it to shoot with. He's using the rifle as a club. So he swings his rifle like a club at the Doctor, and he misses, and then he falls off this walkway in the fuel storage tank area. He falls to his death. So it's a long, very tall, very high height. Then the technician appears, and he's all green and hairy. Well, hairy-handed at least. Doesn't have hair on his face. He doesn't look like a werewolf yet. He's green though, and he's the one that's on the cover, the technician. In the middle here. So that's the technician. Okay. Sir Keith, he tells Stallman about the green substance leaking from one of the pipes. That's the same green substance that Slocum had previously touched. They had put some of it in a canister. Keith tells Stallman, so far the substance has defied analysis. They don't know what it is. Stallman says, ridiculous! If it exists, it can be analyzed. Keith tells him, the labs say they can't get near enough to the stuff to carry out a proper examination. Now, they can't touch it because it's hot. Well, they don't want to touch it because they don't realize it, but they'll turn green and hairy-handed. So dangerous stuff, this green substance. Sir Keith says it took them all their time to siphon some off into that heat-resistant jar. Petra tells Stallman the canister with the green substance is going to shatter. Then Stallman is about to touch the canister with his bare hands. The Doctor says, no, Professor, don't. Stallman ignores the doctor. He grabs the canister with his bare hand and places it in a box. So you can kind of tell that when he touches the canister, it looks like he's burning himself, but he doesn't want to let other people know that he just hurt himself by touching it. At least that's what I perceived. Like, he touched something hot stubbornly, even against the advice of the doctor, and he didn't want to say, "Ow, that hurt." He didn't want to say. He didn't want to show his pain, is what I perceived. Like, but you could tell he was hiding that he was hurting, from touching this this canister, this heat-resistant canister that had the green substance in it. So he puts it in a box. And then the doctor says, "Yes, well, I wouldn't have done that if I was you." Stallman takes out a rag and rubs his hand. The Brigadier asks if Stallman is all right. Stallman says, "Yes, of course. The jar was hot. It's nothing." He appears to be in pain because he keeps rubbing his hand with the rag. The doctor tells Stallman that the computer is telling them the drilling should be stopped immediately. Stallman tells the doctor that the computer is inaccurate. Stallman tells the doctor he's not allowed to use the nuclear power for himself anymore because they need all the energy they can get. Stallman wants to accelerate the drilling by 12%. The doctor says, "That's an incredibly childish attitude to take." Later, Stallman realizes his hand is turning green. The doctor sneaks over and turns the power on to the building that the TARDIS console is in. Stallman removes a microcircuit from the computer and is about to smash it, but the doctor stops him. The doctor presses a finger on Stallman's throat, temporarily paralyzing him. The brigadier asks what the doctor is doing. The doctor tells him okay, here we go. He says Venusian karate. Which I think maybe shouldn't have been called karate, because when I think of karate, I think of physical blows, physically attacking someone. Unless I'm mistaken, that karate is also doing like nerve pinches, because that's what it looks like, kind of like from Star Trek, the Vulcan nerve pinch. So the doctor, it's like he's pressing a finger by the doctor's pressing a finger by Stallman's throat, and so that's why he's temporarily paralyzed. So it looks like a nerve attack. But then the doctor releases Stallman. After the brigadier and the doctor leave, Stallman steps on the computer microcircuit, shattering it, because he doesn't want the computer interfering with what he perceives as the efficiency of the progress of the drill that's drilling to the crust of the Earth. So he feels like the computer will just slow down the project. So that's why He broke that microcircuit. Alright, then the Doctor returns to the building where the TARDIS console is. So I'm saying building because in the show they called it hut. This building that the TARDIS console is in. They kept referring it to as the hut. It just seems strange to call it a hut because when I think of a hut, I think of something much smaller, wooden, like a shed. That's what I think of when I think of a hut. Or Jabba the Hutt. But that's what they were calling this building. The hut. I guess I could look up the word hut and see if there's another... What does my dictionary say for the word hut? Well, okay, my dictionary says for hut, it's a small single-story building of simple or crude construction, serving as a poor, rough, or temporary house or shelter. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I felt like, well, that doesn't really describe the building that TARDIS console was in. But it was a single-story building, I guess, of simple, but I wouldn't call it crude construction, or serving as a poor, rough, or temporary house or shelter. It didn't look very temporary. Origin mid-16th century in the sense temporary wooden shelter for troops. From French Hut, from Middle High German Hut. So that's why I didn't really want to call it hut. I just wanted to say it's a building. It's a small building. That's where the TARDIS console is. Anyway, so the Doctor returns to this building where the TARDIS console is, and he sends Liz Shaw back to the main building at the drill site complex. Stallman realizes the Doctor was using extra power and turns off the switch. Just then, the Brigadier and Liz Shaw return to see the Doctor and the console disappear. Bessie, his car, disappears too. That was convenient. Gave him a chance to get around. Wherever he was going. Stallman refuses to turn the power back on that the Doctor had been using. Later, Stallman's hand is still green and bothering him. He covers it with a white glove. The Doctor wakes up on the floor by the console. He notices a poster on the wall that wasn't there before. It displays a serious-looking man, and below are the words, "Unity is strength." The Doctor takes his car out, and someone is shooting at him. He ducks and drives away. The man that was firing at the Doctor was a soldier. He tells Benton that the man he was shooting at was a saboteur. Benton says, "Well, get after him." Benton blows an alarm whistle. Later, the Doctor climbs up some stairs outside. It's the fuel storage tank area. The green and hairy-handed technician advances on the Doctor. The Doctor sprays the technician with a fire extinguisher, and the technician falls down. Well, don't really want to stop here because I'm in the middle of describing what's happening here. But I guess I'll stop because it's 12:33 p.m. It's time for breakfast, time for smoothies and tomato sandwich. Well, not really sandwiches. They didn't have the bread I like. They just had English muffins. So tomato on English muffins. Time for breakfast. Yeah. So I'm going to have to take a break. And this video is already after, it's more than 15 minutes, so that's long enough. All right.